Speaking section. The speaking section tests your ability to communicate in English in an academic setting. During the test, you will be presented with 4 speaking questions. The questions ask for a response to a single question, a talk, or a lecture. The prompts and questions are presented on time. You may take notes as you listen, but notes are not graded. You may use your notes to answer the questions. Some of the questions ask for a response to a reading passage and a talk or a lecture. The reading passages and the questions are written, but the directions will be spoken. Your speaking will be evaluated on both the fluency of the language and the accuracy of the content. You will have 15 to 20 seconds to prepare and 45 to 60 seconds to respond to each question. Typically, a good response will require all of the response time and the answer will be complete by the end of the response time. You have about 17 minutes to complete the speaking section. A clock on the screen will show you how much time you have to prepare each of your answers and how much time you have to record each response.
You will now be asked a question about a familiar topic. After you hear the question, you will have 15 seconds to plan your response and 45 seconds to speak.
Some teachers believe that students should have a fixed seat they use every day in class. Other teachers think students should be able to choose where they sit and can sit in different seats on different days. What do you think is the better approach? Explain your reasoning.
You will now read a short passage and then listen to a conversation on the same topic. You will then be asked a question about the passages. After you hear the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. You have 45 seconds to read the passage below.
Listen to 2 students discussing this article. Hey, did you see that letter from Alexandra about textbooks?
Yeah, I did. What did you think about it?
I thought she made some really good points. One thing she mentioned is how expensive it can be to buy brand new textbooks from the university bookstore, and they usually only have a limited number of used copies, which go quickly.
That's so true. It can be such a hassle trying to find affordable textbooks at the start of the semester.
Exactly. That's why I agree with her suggestion to make the textbook lists available when we register for classes. That would give us more time to shop around online or look for used copies.
Definitely. And her other point about being able to get a head start on the readings is smart too. The beginning of the semester is always so hectic, so having that extra time to do some prep work would be really helpful.
Yeah, I think a lot of us have that experience of struggling to keep up with all the readings and assignments at the start of a new term. If we had the book list ahead of time, we could use that pre-semester downtime more productively.
Absolutely. Overall, I think Alexandra's suggestions are really practical and would benefit a lot of students. Hopefully, the university will consider implementing something like that.
I hope so too. It just seems like a simple change that could make a big difference.
The man expresses his opinion about the proposal described in the letter. Briefly summarize the proposal. Then state his opinion about the proposal and explain the reasons he gives for holding that opinion.
You will now read a short passage and then listen to a lecture on the same topic. You will then be asked a question about the passage. After you hear the question, you have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. You have 45 seconds to read the passage below. You may begin reading now.
Now listen to part of a lecture on procedural memory from a psychology class. Today we'll discuss a real-life example of procedural memory. Picture this. You decide to learn how to play the piano. During your first lesson, your instructor teaches you the proper hand position and finger movements. At first, it's challenging to coordinate your hands and press the right keys, but with daily practice, you gradually improve. Eventually, playing the piano becomes almost automatic. Your fingers move gracefully and you don't have to think about every note. Now imagine that after a few years of playing, life gets busy and you stop practicing. One day you come across a piano and decide to play a tune. Surprisingly, you realize that even though you haven't played in a long time, your fingers still remember how to produce beautiful music. You might not be able to explain precisely how your fingers know where to go, but they just do. This example showcases the concept of procedural memory. Your brain forms a memory of the process of playing the piano, allowing you to perform the action automatically and recall it easily, even after a long break. Procedural memory helps us retain learned actions over time, making daily tasks more manageable.
Explain how the professor's lecture example illustrates the concept of procedural memory.
You will now listen to part of a lecture. You will then be asked a question about it. After you hear the question, you will have 20 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak.
Listen to part of a lecture in a zoology class. In this lecture, we will explore two primary disadvantages that animals face when living in groups: increased disease transmission and heightened competition for resources. When animals live in close proximity, the risk of disease transmission significantly increases. In a densely populated habitat, a single infected individual can easily pass on pathogens to other members of the group. A prime example of this can be seen in a colony of bats. Bats live in large groups, often roosting together in caves or trees. If one bat becomes infected with a disease such as white nose syndrome, it can quickly spread throughout the colony, causing significant population declines. Another significant disadvantage of living in groups is the increased competition for resources, including food, water, and shelter. As group size grows, resources can become scarcer, leading to conflicts between members. Consider the African savanna ecosystem, where various species such as wildebeests, zebras, and gazelles often form large herds. While grouping together provides protection from predators, it also increases competition for grazing lands. This competition can escalate during droughts or other environmental changes, causing stress and weakening the health of the animals. In conclusion, while living in groups may provide certain benefits, it is crucial to understand the challenges that arise from increased disease transmission and competition for resources. By studying these dynamics, we can gain valuable insights into the complex lives of social animals and better understand the delicate balance between the advantages and disadvantages of group living.
Using the examples of disease transmission and resource competition from the lecture, explain two disadvantages of living in groups for animals.